Hi, everyone, and welcome to In the News with David Lucas. Um, if this is the first time you've come to the channel, I'd like you to um, subscribe and like the channel so that you can get updated content. This is uh, a broadcast and platform I created to discuss some social, economical, and political things that go on in the black community and or how it relates to the black community. So I'm speaking from my perspective. I don't speak for black people. I don't speak for any group of people. This is a conversation that I bring forward about things that I'm reading in the news, things I'm learning about in politics. And I'd love for you to join the conversation. Comments are always encouraged. Today I'm going to be talking about something I've been waiting for in the news to happen, but I still haven't seen it yet, and that is the plan for COVID-19. I see a lot of chatter going on about it. I see that the White House is in turmoil over it, but I still don't see a plan. And we're about 4 months in. Let me tell you where we are right now. We're about 4 months in. Close to 90,000 people have lost their lives, or over that amount by now, to the virus, to the disease. Hospitals in some states are flooded. We have people protesting around the country. Many cities were closed for a time, but now they're opening. Beaches were trying to open and close and back and forth, and there's been a lot of things going on, but as a unified front against COVID-19, we haven't had one. We haven't seen a direct plan come out of the White House or federal government, and basically mayors and governors are left to fend for themselves. Now we're to a point where people want to open businesses, they want to open schools, but still no one feels that the place is safe enough to do that. We're gonna discuss that in just a moment. I was just watching the news today, and the World Health Organization is saying that it's seen the greatest spike in number of cases among foreign nations, U.S. being one of them, that it's seen so far. But still, the President of the United States and others are trying to open up the cities and get people back to work, get the kids back in school in the fall. We're going to discuss that in just a moment. So, first of all, most countries have been looking at this curve, and the curve they've been looking at, and you've heard about it in the news, is an escalation type of phase where the number of cases go up and up and up and up, and then they start to curve down. Okay, so many nations have gone through that. They shut the countries down, they shut down their businesses, shut down the schools, parks, a lot of entertainment, everything that wasn't essential, they closed it down. To deal with the number of cases they had, and many of them have succeeded in that, and the numbers came down drastically. Some have started to open back up and saw some problems. They isolated those issues, and they're still coming down in their numbers and trying to get back down in their numbers. So we've seen, still we don't have a vaccine. We knew a vaccine would be probably a year and a half out. People are rushing to get some kind of vaccine. I have a little bit of a research background, so I know how that works. It generally takes about 18 months to get a vaccine of something of that sort into circulation. And with nations being shut down the way that they were, it would probably take longer, to be honest. So, with that being said, the goal was to keep the number of COVID cases down. To do that, people had to isolate. That means not coming in contact with other people, because this particular virus, as you know by now, can be asymptomatic, which means a person could be positive for this virus and not show symptoms, not have a cough, not have fever, not display any type of sickness at all, could look normal, and could be passing as a carrier, could be passing this virus around from room to room, place to place that they should go, okay, in their normal daily lives, okay? So we were asked to distance ourselves and to self-quarantine for so many days. That was very, very hard for folks, because when we tried to do it for 2 weeks, then it was extended further and extended further. And so some people were getting upset and saying, is this really helping? Some people are against wearing masks and different things and taking the precautions that they should take so that other people around them wouldn't get sick. Well, there's a problem with a lot of these issues, and it surrounds testing. The number of people that should be testing in a place the size of the United States ranges between 320, 350 million people. That's a huge number of people to test, okay? That's an overwhelming number of people to test, okay? The first issue was we got started late, meaning when we were warned that this was happening, the president and others decided it was a hoax. They wanted to put it out in the news as though it wasn't serious, it was going to pass, and it was going to miraculously go away. Okay, so that put us behind several weeks, months right there, okay? People started debating that issue rather than taking action. So that put us behind. The other issue was, should we close the cities down? That became a debate also. Should we shut the cities down? Should people wear masks? Should we social distance? Is this going to work? Okay. In America, people have a lot of attitudes and have a lot of difference in opinion. We are entitled to our opinions, especially when it comes down to our lives. And so in that respect, a lot of time was lost. Okay. When it was decided that this was a state of emergency and we needed to do some things and take action, okay, we were already late. We were already behind the 8 ball. And then we found incidents where people were wanting to go to church or wanting to go to big events and they couldn't go. And so they got mad, and now they're protesting around the country. And these protests are creating havoc in the medical community, because that means that more people take the chance of getting sick and take the chance of spreading the virus, because they are crowding around each other. And these cities where you're seeing protests, a week or two later, you're seeing thousands. The hospitals and local medical people are seeing thousands of sick people rush to the hospital, overwhelming the hospital situation. We've seen that there's limited respirators and protective wear for the patients, as well as the doctors and nurses. Doctors and nurses started dying as a result of the virus and the spread of the virus, and so many people coming into the hospitals at one time. So that becomes an issue also. Not only that, our president decided to get involved, and rather than calm the storm, he decided to tell people, they're trying to steal your rights, go out and protest. Okay? So what does that do? That just creates more of an uproar in the political debate, making this a political thing instead of a medical thing. And people feel that their rights are being taken away from them, and so they need to go out and protest, which ultimately means they're putting their health at risk. So that's where we are today. Today, we are still waiting for the president and the federal government to come up with a plan. In the meantime, I want to suggest some things to you, because in this country, we've seen in the last 3 years a lack of solid commitment to leadership from this president. And there's no need in continuing to wait for this person or this group of people to lead you. In other words, this is one of those situations in our community when we have to take responsibility for our own actions and the actions of those around us. This is one of those times where we have to go beyond what they say and do what we need to do. In other words, when they tell you to send your children to school and you know in your heart that's not a safe place for your children to be, and you send your child there and your child gets sick, or bring it home and you get sick, here's the deal. No one's going to care for you. The president isn't going to come to your house and come to your rescue. That was a bad decision on your part. That's where we need to start thinking differently. We need to start thinking independently of these leaders, because although these leaders, they have something different in mind. They want to get the economy going, which is great. We would love to see the economy come back, be strong, be vibrant. We're all making money. We're all doing good. We're all doing the fun things we love to do. But this is not a time for that. Right now, there is close to 40 million people out of work. Now, that's 40 million people that have applied for unemployment benefits or employment benefits. There's more people than that were unemployed, and they wouldn't have the means to apply for employment benefits. Okay? So there's even a greater number really of people who are unemployed right now. Okay? And that might be some of you. Okay? So we have to do what we have to do, but waiting for this president to get some kind of sense of reason in his head, that's not coming. That's not coming. That's not happening. And we know that's not happening. And so we have to do this thing differently. We have to first protect ourselves, protect our families, protect our friends, and stay at home when necessary. Go out and get the food and things that you need when necessary. We have to do the things that we know we have to do. Going back to work puts you in jeopardy. So if that is something you have to do, that you must do, then you have to do it, but you have to take every precaution. Otherwise, if you're not getting tested, if there's no test available, you're not getting tested, there's a chance that you might bring this illness into your own home. And that's not a good idea. Okay? You have to look at that. I have friends that are in the nursing community. They tell me what's going on in the hospitals. I used to work in a hospital, and I can tell you right now, some of my doctor friends and nurse friends have told me that's not the safest place to be right now, because even they don't have the proper protective equipment they need. Now, speaking to that, the American president has the ability to summon on factories and businesses and call on them and say, make masks. This is something that we need. We need protective gear for the hospitals. Make it. We need respirators. Make them. He can stop companies in their tracks and say, we need you to make this because this is an emergency. Bring this to the hospitals. He has the power to do that. This president has decided not to do that. That ability was given to presidents back in the world wars. When we needed weapons or different things, he can stop manufacturers and say, stop what you're doing right now. I need you to make this. Or we have a shortage of this. Can you bring this? He has the power to do that, but he's not using that power to do that. The Senate and the House have been fighting to get this president to do these things, and he doesn't see it as important. That's what we're dealing with right now. And that's a bad move. That's not leadership. Okay? And there's a lot of people out there who wouldn't agree with me. They back this president. They think he's doing great. And I want to challenge that. I want to challenge that thought. If he's really doing great, why are we losing so many people? I really want to challenge that thought. I don't even want to have that debate with someone. If he's doing great as you say he is, I want you to check with your local hospitals and see how they're doing. And tell me otherwise. Okay? Come with facts and not just this stuff you hear on Fox News. If you think this president is doing great, back it up with facts. Talk to the people and find out before you go spewing all your negative stuff. I want to hear facts. Okay? Because people who just say things and think they're so just because they say them, that's not true. And that's never been true. I have sinuses. I'm allergic to almost everything. So, I say that not in mean spirit, but direct. I am very direct about that. I want to deal in facts. I don't deal in lies. And I don't have patience for people who come to me with lies. Because it takes more time to look up your lie and bring a fact to it than it takes you to go look up the truth. Okay? So speak to me truthfully if you're going to come at me with any kind of thing. Because I'm telling you what is true. Now, moving on from that. I'm off my soapbox now. The other thing is, the problem with us, because I'm looking at the worldview, most leaders have brought that curve down, and we have not. They're looking at us like we're crazy right now, and we are. And right now, Donald Trump is blaming the Chinese right now. Like that helps. Blaming someone else helps. It doesn't. Okay? Instead of taking responsibility for where this country is, our president is blaming other people. The blame game doesn't work. Not in this. Step up and lead. Step up and change the situation. You said you were a leader. Let's see you lead. If you're not willing to lead, get out of the seat and let somebody else do it and take this country where it needs to go. I say that because other countries I'm seeing have reduced this number. They have done the work of testing, isolating individuals who had the disease, treating them, and tracing them, tracking them. Okay? What does that mean? That means that if someone had the disease, they treated that person as soon as they realized that person had a temperature or had these symptoms. They tested, they found who had it, they treated them, and then once they recovered and they test them after a couple more weeks, they test them and see that that person is negative now for the disease, they let them go. In the meantime, they track those people and they can tell you where they've been, so that if they came in contact with other people, they can tell the people who don't have the disease, hey, we need to test you because we want to make sure. It looks like you may have come in contact with this person that had the disease. We want to make sure you're okay. So let us test you and make sure you're okay before you spread it if you have it. That's what this is about. Now, Dr. Fauci, Dr. Birx, and some of the other people went inside the White House and they tried to give our federal government this advice on what to do and how to do it. Instead of accepting the advice, our president is more concerned about how he looks in the public. He's more concerned about his ego, that Dr. Fauci might know more than him, that Dr. Birx might know more than him. So he starts to attack them because he wants his point to be the most valid point. Now that gets into the politics, and these people aren't supposed to be political people. They're trying to save everybody. It's not about Republican, Democrat, Independent votes and the whole thing. They're just bringing medical knowledge so that we can understand how this disease works and how it doesn't work and what we need to do to fend it off. You know, we don't have a cure, so how do we fend this thing off until we do have one? That's their job. But apparently this president don't like it when other people do a good job. Every time they're doing a good job, he fires them or attacks them or does something crazy, goes off the wall. I can't say what I want to say there, okay? But I want to conclude with this. Other countries have successfully done this. That means that it's possible. But it doesn't mean that we can just go to the beach and hang out and have barbecues and go to church and party like we're rock stars and get rid of the virus at the same time. That's not what it means. And Americans, we feel like we can just do whatever the hell we want to do and that's just okay. Well, it's not. Sometimes it's just not. It's not the wisest thing to do. So when I see guys on television carrying guns, protesting at the capital of these cities, whatever, capital of these states, they go to state capitol, they're carrying their semi-automatic weapon, they're trying to look like the Terminator or somebody. I'm going to tell you something about that. Oh God, I wish I could say what you need to grow up. You need to grow up. You can do that any other time you want, but not while this disease is going on out there. You need to grow the hell up. That is not wise for you, your family, your friends, your community, your city, your state, your nation that you're so damn proud of. 90,000 people have lost their lives and you're acting like a fool. And I'm going to tell you something about that. That person who gets out there and carries that gun so proudly and he's out there protesting, he also could be carrying a virus, a deadly virus. He could be a deadly weapon himself or could become one to his family, his friends, his state, his community, his city, his government. You're being a fool. You're being a fool. You're being used. When people tell you to go out and do that, you're being used. You're being manipulated. And you don't even understand it. You don't understand what you're doing. Back to what I was saying. If these other countries can do this and fix this, America can fix it too. The difference is we have very poor leadership right now. We have a bunch of Republicans that are in office doing everything Donald Trump says to do because they're afraid. They're not doing it because they're proud to do it. They're doing it because they're afraid of him. And the Democrats are fighting for their lives to get this across to people so that they'll understand. And they're just coming under attack by all these ignorant people. And the problem is this. These people are acting out of fear. They're afraid that Donald Trump will get on his Twitter account, which is what he does. He gets on his Twitter, on his phone, and talks crap about everybody that don't agree with him. And when he puts your name out there, now all of a sudden, everybody's pointing the finger at you, hating you. And Republicans are afraid. They won't stand up to this man. They never have, and they're not going to. Because he's going to lash out at all of them if they don't fall in line. And that's what he tells them to do. Fall in line. If you don't fall in line and listen to what he has to say, then you're nobody. You're dead to him. And he's going to come after you. And that's what's going on in the Republican Party. That's what's going on with Mitch McConnell, Lindsey Graham, and all the other ones you see out there. All these Republican governors, they have to fall in line. Even if it means killing innocent citizens, they have to fall in line. If he says open up the government, open up the cities, you better open up the cities. Because his whole thing is he's a king and you need to do what the king is asking you to do. Now here's the thing with that. That has nothing to do with us. Nothing. We don't have to do a damn thing he says. We don't. And you don't have to go to work. You don't have to send your kids to those schools. You don't have to do any of that. And you shouldn't feel threatened to take care of your family. You need to do what's right for you to do. I don't listen to Donald Trump. I don't listen to any of them. I make my decisions based on what's right for my family. And I tell my family, I'm not in America right now. I'm in Thailand. I'm in Krabi, Thailand right now. But I tell my family, even back home, what they need to do. I don't listen to the president. I don't. He's not my president. And I encourage you to take the same attitude. You need to wash your hands. Stay out of those big crowds. Social distance. Go to things that are essential for you and your family. You don't need to be around people who don't understand how important this disease is. Okay? Because you're going to end up in the hospital, and then who's going to take care of your kids? Who's going to take care of your family if you find yourself on the other side of this disease instead of on this side of it? Okay? This disease thing, COVID-19 is serious, and you need to be taking it seriously. Okay? So, anyway, please like and subscribe to the channel. Sometimes you're going to hear me get as direct as I can get on these issues and other things as it relates to our community. I'm speaking to every community, really, but I'm mainly right now focused on my community. Why? Because I feel like everybody speaks up for their communities. We need to start speaking up for our community. And we need to show people that our community matters just as much as theirs. And that's what I'm talking about. People may not like it, and I don't care what they like. What I'm concerned about is speaking truth to power and telling it like it is. That's the way I was raised, and that's what I'm going to do. So, please like and subscribe to the channel. If you want to join this conversation, if you have comments, share them with me. You don't have to agree with me, and that's fine. But I want all of us to be safe. I want us all to come out on the other side of this. That's important to me. And I want us to do the things that we've always done. We need to survive this, and we need to take our children and families with us. Okay? Y'all have a blessed day. I'll talk